Hello, it's a beautiful Saturday evening and live from the news hub at Adesawe Kanda in Accra. This is News at 10. You can watch us live on your DSTV channel 279 and follow our live stream on facebook.com/TV3GH. Let's start with a summary of the day's news highlights. A former editor of Kotoko Express, Jerome Ochery, is calling for the resignation of members of the executive committee of the GFA who were cited in the announced expose. Head of sports at Media General Michael Otieje said the expose is a true reflection of what has been happening at the GFA all this while. And CEO of Aduana Stars Football Club, Albert Comey, has expressed disappointment in Ghanaians for labeling everyone at the GFA as corrupt based on mistakes committed by other members of the association. He says his interest in football has depreciated and he might leave the game. The Northern Regional Football Association Chairman Abdullahi Al-Hassan has announced his resignation from the Ghana Football Association. The announcement was made at a press conference in Tamale. President Akufo-Addo has assured the chiefs and people of Western North that his government remains committed to separating them from the Western South. This was after the Omahini of Sefirioso Okotechie Kwesi Bomankama II reminded him of his promise to give the people of the Western North a separate region. Those are our major news highlights. Remember, you can follow our live stream on Facebook and on streamnews.com. Up next is the big one. Welcome back. Now, the Chief Executive Officer of Aduana Stars Football Club, Albert Comey, has expressed disappointment in Ghanaians for labeling everyone at the Ghana Football Association, GFA, as corrupt based on mistakes committed by other members of the association. He says his interest in football has depreciated and he might leave the game.
I am not happy and I feel sad for Ghana football because it looks as if people perceive all of us to be corrupt. And for that matter, they are just reacting on something somebody has done one side. The question I kept asking myself is, if he himself has been tried that way, will he be able to survive it? The kind of comments people are making, especially the government, made me sad. I'm very undecided now. I don't know. At the point I don't want to be doing football. I just want to get myself out of it because some of us were not gotten. You know that they didn't try us. When you look at the storylines and you see the kind of calls I had, the gentleman who came and wanted to bribe because he's brought a young guy to the team, and I saw all those things as an attempt, people, because one, if you are principled on certain things, you are principled on certain things.
And corruption is undoubtedly the current hot-button topic in Ghana because of the announced investigative work on Ghana Football Association. The saga has supposedly exposed the modus operandi of typical bureaucratic corrupt deals. But beyond that, it has also shown the insidious nature of corruption by the very people who are supposed to protect the country, and more importantly, illustrated the evil effects of corruption in Ghana. It is accepted that corruption has a strong potential to steal the wealth of a nation and impoverish its people. The more corrupt a country is, the lower its economic growth rate. Where businesses refuse to pay the speedy money or grease the palms of bureaucrats, they're subjected to all forms of delays and frustrations. These frustrations increase the cost of doing business and are passed on to the consumer in the form of higher prices. Let's quickly get onto the telephone lines now and speak with the CEO of the Institute of Chartered Economists, Ghana, Gideon Emisa, who is joining us now. Mr. Emisa, thank you extremely. We're grateful for your time. So how do we appreciate the ADAS expose as a country in relation to foreign direct investment, for example? Because some have argued that this will actually affect Ghana's at the international front in terms of investment. Do you agree? Hello, sir.
Well, thank you very much, and good evening to yourself and your viewers.
So I'm asking what effect this magnitude of corruption is likely to have on the country, especially when we focus on foreign direct investments, for example.
All right, thank you very much. I think when it comes to issues of this nature, foreign investors will be looking at various indicators. But it depends on where you are looking at it from. If you're looking at the macroeconomic indicators, i.e. the various sectors, the real sector, external sector, and then the monetary sector as well as the fiscal sector, I think Ghana, we have enjoyed some favorable conditions over the past few periods. So looking at those indicators, I don't think we have much of issues to worry about, because those indicators are quite favorable. However, on the other side, when you look at the socioeconomic indicators, as in terms of governance, in terms of corruption, in terms of ease of doing business,
that's right,
in terms of economic freedom, as well as global peace index, as well as global perception or global corruption barometer, you realize that those indicators over the past few periods or past few months or years haven't been so good for that. So coupled with these issues coming up, depending on the angle you're looking at, and then I think investors would always be looking at both the macroeconomic indicators as well as the socioeconomic indicators.
Right, so Mr. Emisa, let me put it this way. I know that NAS's investigative work has been ongoing for quite a while. I mean, the last one was in relation to judges, and there were questions of how this will portray us in the eyes of the international community when it comes to the delivery of justice. Now, there is this what appears to be inherent corruption, actually, which appears to look like corruption within the elite class. And if you were an investor, what I wanted to ask you, how I wanted to shift the question was that if you were an investor with the evidence before you, the fact that people can go about bribing their way through and the justice system is as corrupt as ANAS exposed it, would you put your money here?
I think it's an adverse effect on us. It's not something that investors would want to, put their money in, as per what you're saying or the way you put it. But again, this is just a confirmation of some perception that internally and external investors, have about the economy. You realize that just not so long ago, the 2017 corruption index was not so good for Ghana. So this is just a validation of the issue that we are contending with as a nation. And various issues popped up asking, how easy is it for you to register a business? How easy is it for you to, register a land in Ghana? How easy is it for you to acquire some document in terms of doing business? And one of the major issues that this expose brings to bear, or actually confirms, is the issue with regards to our contracting in terms of procurement. With business environment in the country this expose actually gives some confirmation to the fact that it's not so easy for an external investor to get a contract in Ghana. You would agree with me that just a few years ago, we had similar issues cropping up in terms of how one is able to assess the presidency with regards to business relations. And this expose actually gives some confirmation as to the validity of the issue. We may want to leave that for some other discussion.
Right, and you also raised the issue of how this will affect ease of doing business. Can you expatiate a little further how exactly you think that this will affect people in doing business in Ghana? For example, do you expect that they will be cautious and or might perhaps want to bribe their way through more often, or what?
Again, the two all goes together. People would want to be cautious in terms of putting their money in Ghana or coming to do investment in Ghana. Again, people would also know that it is quite not a smooth route for you to get yourself engaged in business in Ghana. But we all know that lobbying is part of doing business. You may want to lobby your way through. But then one would not also want to, agree or affirm corruption in relation to these issues that are popping up. Business environment, generally, I don't think we have so much issues to worry with. On the face of it, where the macroeconomic indicators are stated, they are quite favorable for us as a nation, and it goes to confirm our recently issued bonds. However, again, I have to stress again that socio-economic indicators, we have a long way to go. And with the ease of doing business, one major issue that pops up is enforcing of contract. In terms of contracting in Ghana, how is that with regards to international best practices? Right. Although we have the procurement laws in place, however, the contracting aspect of the business, as in the terms and then the conditions and warranties, I think to some large extent the discretion for an administrative agent is so broad, and we need to find a way to narrow it so that the confidence level of investors in terms of contracting in Ghana would be raised. And I think our institute will raise this issue, and the World Bank has also raised it, and we have to look at it. With this issue again, going forward, how we handle it in terms of leadership and governance, we also play a very critical role in that.
Right, Mr. Amisa, thank you very much. Gideon Amisa is president of the Institute of Chartered Economists. I'm Stephen Anti. This is News at 10. We have more news for you. Don't go away. Welcome back. Now, scores of traders at the racecourse market in Kumasi besieged the offices of the Metropolitan Assembly to register their displeasure at what they claim is the KMA's failure to rid the streets of hawkers. The traders have vowed to return to the streets in 2 weeks if the Assembly does not fully carry through its exercise to relocate all the traders to the main market. Here's a report by correspondent Benjamin Aidu.
The agitated traders were evicted from the streets of Kumasi 2 months ago as part of a drive by the KMA to decongest the city. The Assembly relocated the traders to the racecourse market, but some of their colleagues have remained on the street to ply their trade, a situation that has compelled others to abandon their shops and return to sell on the streets. The aggrieved traders have petitioned the KMA to ensure all the traders are off the streets to afford them a common opportunity to attract customers. They also called on the Assembly to help resolve the leadership crisis at the racecourse market.
The officials of KMA always pretend they are sacking them from the streets, but all they do is collect money from them and leave them alone. We are pleading for this to stop because an active market means more business for us all.
Metropolitan Chief Executive Osei Asibe Inchi assured the traders of the Assembly's determination to evict traders from the streets.
We've assured them of the needed support. From Monday going, we will make sure we have the adequate number of police to police them to make sure they do their work and do it very well. When we were doing the relocation exercise, a lot of people went there and took the shirts. So per our bylaw, once we've given the place to them and it has taken them more than 6 months to occupy the place, we have the right to take it back. I've made a firm promise and I've announced to the whole public that anybody who wants to sell, who do not have a place to sell, should move straight into race course. And when he get there, he has to see the leadership, and the leadership will provide a place for the person to sell.
And available data, the Aguna West Municipal Assembly shows that arrears from uncollected bills on property rates for 2018 amounts to 1,562,000 Ghana cedis. A development economist at the Assembly, Dr. Eric Okobing, believes the amount can help the Assembly carry out many development projects without relying on its common fund. This was made known at a stakeholders workshop organized by the Assembly in the Central Region. Lucia Yambela has more.
The workshop was organized to discuss innovative ways of mobilizing revenue to finance the Assembly's development projects envisaged in the medium-term development plan for 2018 to 2021. This follows a new directive from the Common Fund Administrator directing all metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies to use 80% of funds from their common funds for government programs, while the remaining 20% is to be used to fund the Assembly's programs. The 80% of the common fund should be used to fund the following programs: 40% for school feeding program, 20% for planting for food and jobs, and 20% for the Nation Builders Corps. Speaking on the topic, Ghana Beyond Aid and Revenue Mobilization, a development economist at the Aguna West Municipal Assembly, Dr. Eric Okobing, argued that aid has not helped Ghana because of the dependency syndrome. He praised government for the self-sufficient policy direction, but warned that debt servicing is taking a large part of Ghana's domestic revenue, hence making the country's economy vulnerable to shocks. According to him, in 2017, interest payments on public debt of the country was equal to 41.8% of total tax revenue. He urged governments to limit borrowing to high-priority development projects that have growth potential. Dr. Eric Okobing added that continuous increase in the debt stock may threaten the president's agenda to grow the economy beyond aid. However, the Aguna West Municipal Assembly's efforts to collect property rates have been falling short of what is expected.
The best source of fund for the Assembly is the internally generated fund. That one, assemblies have their own control. They can come out and use this to actually finance their development plans. Yeah, because of the delays and problems that we are having with the District Assembly Common Fund. And now the President has an agenda of job creation, and about 80% of the Common Fund is actually used to achieve this objective.
The Aguna West Municipal Chief Executive, Justina Marigold Asan, launched her agenda for developing the municipality. She identified measures such as setting comprehensive revenue data collection, effective revenue administration, and weekend collection, among others, to help the Assembly boost its revenue.
And lepers in the Bawku West district of the Upper East region are calling on the Ministry of Gender and Social Protection to consider rolling them on the Livelihood and Empowerment Against Poverty program, LEAP, for survival. The lepers have been abandoned and are struggling to be fed. Eva Tiboka reports.
Meet Azuma, Ayimpoka and Asitanga, afflicted with leprosy in an area where poverty is endemic. Each passing day is a struggle. In their condition, life is unbearable. Food on the table is by dint of luck. They would have been needing family support, but they have been abandoned. 72-year-old Amisang Azuma contracted the disease in the 90s. His wife left him a few years after his condition was diagnosed. To make matters worse for the 72-year-old, his 3 children, who would have shown him love and care, have all passed on. In this house, he now lives alone with his little cat as his companion. He does all the house chores all by himself, including fetching water and cooking. Ayimpoka and Asitanga are suffering the same fate. The Livelihood Empowerment Program, LEAP, would have been of immense help, but it is yet to trickle down to them. Richard Adongo is director of the Social Welfare Department in Boku West.
A district-wide registration of people with disabilities. In all, 3,445 people were covered. This particular group of people, out of the 36, only 2 have been supported. There are many, but how to actually get them out to register to benefit from any package from the government is actually a challenge, just because of stigmatization.
The 3 are calling on authorities to enroll them onto the LEAP program.
It's now the duty of the department to get closer or get in touch with the rest to see how best they can be supported, because there's money allocated for them.
The Vice President, Dr. Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia, has continued his nationwide Ramadan tour in the Upper West region. The purpose of the tour is to observe prayers with the Muslim communities for unity and prosperity of Ghana.
The Vice President, upon arrival in the Upper West Regional Capital with some government officials, paid a courtesy call on the Paramount Chief of Wala Traditional Area, Wana Fuseni Seidu Pelpu, and his people. He later joined in the Juma prayers at the Central Mosque in Wa, which was observed at 1 p.m. Addressing the congregation, he reiterated that the NPP government is delivering on its mandate, mentioning the implementation of the free senior high school policy, planting for food and jobs, restoration of nursing and teacher training allowances, and some other projects. The Vice President proceeded to Jirapa and continued to Hain, where he observed prayers with some Muslims in the community.
This year, we have launched what we call the Nation Builders Corps. This is to hire 100,000 graduates, HND, diploma, degree holders. The minimum any constituency will get will be 350 people who will be recruited from that constituency. And so you are in good shape by the grace of God. For those who don't have degrees, the youth employment is also going to hire 80,000 people this year.
The Vice President rounded up his tour at Tumu and took the opportunity to pay a courtesy call on the Chief of Tumu, Richard Babini Canton, who is also a member of the Council of State. The Upper West region becomes the 8th region the Vice President has visited so far.
And that's it for News at 10. Thank you very much for staying. I'm Stephen Enti. On behalf of the crew, good night. There is more news at 3news.com.